I'm going to start today with some new work, actually. That's what I'm going to be sharing in general. And so one of the things that I've been being asked about a lot with some of the programs I've been finishing is what it means to be a Canadian writer. And I think that's a very loaded question. I think there's a lot of tension associated with that question, especially as the child of immigrants in this kind of narrative. So one of the things I've been thinking about a lot is spatiality. And so just like we're on church right now, there's this deep history associated with the street. There are other areas in Toronto in which this is, quite similar. So I have some work about an area called Black Creek that is a part of my past, some of my friends' past, and I'm going to share some stories about our culture and what that represents. So this will be new work for a new collection that I hope to have out soon. So this is just an intro to that, so the prologue here. On the west end of the city, where the goat is tender and pears and avocados are the same, there is a building. It howls the way an old house would, and the paint peels like overripe banana. There is a creek close by, where the water stands and shakes all at once. It ripples pools wide onto the granules of Takaranto and dusted gray concrete lining the full and tired roads. Roads that intertwine between the crackle of street meat and smell of fresh pressed cane juice, its stalk shards running with the wind. Where the deep green of the pine trees blends with the soft orange of sunset, it almost looks like back home after a long day at work. Bus stops parallel the block where the building lives, pushing east towards the aunties of Scarborough and south and north, where high rises kiss clouds and factories sprawl across lots where grass was once decorated with dandelions. There is a building on the city's west end, where the people of the islands aren't all Bakayad, on a street called Black Creek. The people of this building slide through linoleum padded halls with fissured glass doors. They pack tightly together, like the canned mackerel and cream crackers they eat with them. Some of the tenants have lived there a few years and some a few generations, like Mr. Garvey and his daughter, planting Callaloo on the top floor of the entire building. Or Miss Junie and her grandson scavenging the alleyways and crevices stockpiled with treasures people have forgotten. Or Peter, who grew up coming to visit his father every summer. Or Saf, who has sat at the same kitchen table in fear of a hot comb her entire life. Leaves have fallen and has surrounded their lives, their deaths, their hearts twisted up into the building they've called home. When they breathe, the building does too. It opens and closes with their whispers and cries, laughter and song. And as they come and go, their essence coats the building like warm honey on Johnny cakes and comes together like pieces longing to be whole. These are the stories of those people, the ones inside, breathing life into the building down by. The first one, sorry. I'll come closer in here. Is that better? Okay. Yeah. All right. So the last thing I'm going to read is a piece of flash. Again, another story that takes place in this setting, in this building, and it's called Envelopes. So I'll just get into it. Okay? You prepare to step out of your apartment as the smell of Callaloo hums through your house. The saltfish is missing. There was no room in the budget this pay, but the kids will enjoy it just the same. Leroy sleeps after the double he pulled. You think of his skin beneath the coolness of your sheets, umber and polyester twisted into something restful. You think of the kids running into your bedroom to wake their father as soon as they know he's home. Malika's insistence that her father touch every page of her workbook, and Tremaine's longing to be wrapped in his arms. You recall their faces. You recall their faces as you open the door and think of how neither of them resemble you, both totems of his lineage. And the thought blankets you tight, like the sheets before you arose. The building is quiet, but you hear the shuffle of the other morningers as distinctly as your own. Slippers gliding over the wood paneling above your head, masking their steps in motions that won't wake the house. You imagine the other breakfast being cooked, bammy with eggs and Vienna sausage and minced folded together, ackee with bacon, because you can't be the only one in the building for saltfish this week. Chocho and spam, brewed coffee in a dollar, and porridges that range from rice to hominy, all hot and smooth to the taste. You listen as they glide and you shuffle to the mailboxes you forgot to check the day before, doing your best to deserve the other mourners sleeping families. The hall linoleum is dusty. You wonder if the other floors in the complex are also like this, if they made the same things that peeled in the corners, or if it's just the first floor, your floor. You remember the first time you and Leroy walked around this hall, his excitement and your hesitation. It's dark, you whispered. We can afford it, you whispered back. You wonder when the dust came, if it was after the children or with the constantly opening and closing door as of late, tenants going and coming unable to sustain the city anymore. Not even here on Black Creek, or down on Keel, or Eglinton. Jane will be next. Heard some of the women talking at Muriella's the other day. Where are we supposed to go when the places we have are no longer ours? You don't know, and you worry. You reach the mailbox. Its bronze-stained aluminum is tinted as the window panes surrounding the front door. You feel for the key in your pocket and can't remember when you put it there. You think of how much of a recurrence this is, things being exactly where they need to be, and no memory of how it got there. You open your slot, and the hinges cry like the girl upstairs above you when her grandparents died in that nasty business of the crash, and you grab the envelopes, so many envelopes. You sip through them like refrigerated all-purpose through the seal, and divide them on the way back. One hand junk, the other bills. You exhale, and you notice the bill hand weighs more. You're surprised you didn't kiss your teeth, but you realize you didn't have the energy. You re-enter the apartment and drop the bill pile in the mail bowl. Your low energy also preventing the task of opening them right now. You get rid of the junk and sit in the kitchen, wobbling on the uneven chair you haven't fixed, and stare at the mail bowl. You stare and fall into a daydream where the bills begin to multiply and start pouring out of the bowl. Piles and piles line the floor like the dust outside, until it's all you can see. You wake up from being awake and head to your children's room. You contemplate taking double shifts as well, arranging it before Leroy gets wind and the growing expenses start, and asking for cash jobs. You open Malika and Tremaine's door and see them there. You remember not having your mother around to wake you in the mornings because she had to catch at 5 o'clock. It wouldn't be the worst thing for them, but you want the first thing that you don't want that to be the first thing that they remember at their age. You want them to remember your voice. Rise and shine, it's but within time. You want them to remember their laughter as they immediately ask to watch that scene on repeat. You want them to remember the softness of your hand as you guide them through the bathroom, as you wash and press your fingers to their lips, a signal that daddy is sleeping, and we'll let him do that a while longer. You want them to remember the sound of you sharing the callaloo, your spoon scraping the side of the pan as they brush their teeth and dips of baking soda. And when they join you in the kitchen, once you've placed a single fried dumpling on their plate, and you listen to the snore singing through the house, you wonder if you'll ever get out of this apartment. Not by necessity, by choice. You wonder as they take mouthfuls of saltfishless breakfast and smile at each other with joy seeping from the gaps in their teeth. You wonder as you smile back, the mail bowl over your shoulder and the taste of rich greens with onions and slight Scotch bonnet that you have prepared. Then you stop wondering and just smile, because at least you have the taste of Callaloo, and so do they. Thank you. Thank you for having me.